And it is that time on Tuesday here in the Midwest, being brown at work. Linda Talaferro, I love this time of the week. Those of you that follow me know I just love it. And I am so excited tonight, especially because of the guest that I have that's going to share tons of wisdom around the imposter syndrome. So let me get straight into it. No further ado. We have Dr. Bridget Leonard with us. Let me tell you a little bit about Dr. Leonard. What may have broken others, Dr. Bridget Leonard uses as building blocks to her next level of success. From certified nursing assistant to chief nursing officer, her passion for nursing is contagious. She is currently faculty for WC3, which we say Wayne County Community College, as the president-elect education chair for ANA of Michigan. As a nursing leader with over 25 years of experience, her transparency, courage, and motivation to empower employees and mentees alike to know that anything is possible when you are committed to doing the work. As the founder and CEO of Bridget Leonard Enterprises LLC, she tailors her efforts to helping people at all levels reach their highest potential through mentoring, professional development, coaching, and public speaking. From motivating the masses to team building and engagement to employee recognition and professional advancement opportunities, Dr. Bridget is sure to leave a mark on the hearts and minds of attendees through her speaking and nuggets of wisdom, which is why you guys now know why I had to have her on Being Brown at Work. Yes. Thank you, Dr. Bridget Leonard. Thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, no, thank you for having me here. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Yes. And I see you've got Dr. B in there in the name. Should we use that? I see you put that in there.
Just go ahead and use Dr. B.
I love it. I love it. I love it. So let's just get right into these nuggets of wisdom. So when you and I met together to have our discovery call and talk about what we were going to share with everyone this evening, imposter syndrome resonated with both of us for sure. How we can authentically show up. And I loved, because I made the notes from our call, you used the word, get rid of that facade. Just get rid of having the facade when you come into the workplace. So can you, if you don't mind, share with me and share with those of us that have joined us, was there any particular experience as you were a leader in the nursing field, or you are today, that really caused you to get into those false beliefs that really had the imposter syndrome rise up for you?
Interesting question. I think a lot of it started with my own insecurities. As you can see, I'm a darker complexion African American woman. My teeth, I recently had braces, but I had a huge gap. I had the big lip syndrome. So I think that a lot of that started with my own insecurities about who I was. And I used to weigh almost 300 pounds. So, I got all these things going on, and I'm trying to climb the corporate ladder. And I always felt that all eyes were on me. So it always made me strive to do, I was the person that worked 12, 14 hours to make sure that things were done, double checking and rechecking again, because I was so insecure with my outside appearance that I wanted my work to shine through so that people wouldn't look at my outside appearance. And I think that carried over as I rose through the ranks. That carried over because today I sit in front of you with bright red lipstick on, and I have my Nubian knots. That's something that I didn't do when I was in corporate America.
Yes.
It was usually a weave, and I usually wore a lip gloss because I wanted to fade into the woodwork. I really didn't want to stand out. And I remember there was a time, being at the table and in a true executive role. Say a board meeting, for instance, that's a perfect example, because there were many times I was in a board meeting and I was the only person of color. And then being that person of color and being a woman at that, sometimes I felt invisible, because there were times when we would have an agenda. So I would come, of course, we had an agenda and I had to come prepared. And when I say prepared, I meant like overly.
Yes.
I don't think the other people that looked at the agenda really, I had to say, okay, what if they say this? And what if they say that? And be prepared to have this and be prepared to have that. So there were times when, things came up and I would say something and it's like no one heard me. But my peer to my right, who had a fair complexion and was often male, would say the same applause. And how did you think of that? I'm like, didn't I just say that? Am I invisible?
Wow.
It was things like that at some point kind of shut me down a little bit because I'm like, what's the point of talking if no one's going to listen?
Yeah.
But because of who I was and the role I played, I knew that I had to continue to find my voice, even if I felt no one was listening. I know that somewhere someone was listening. So I had to stop myself from going mute and continue to have a voice and sometimes speak louder. And there were times in other meetings where I would say something twice just to make sure that they heard it.
Wow. So Dr. Bridget, let's talk about that a little more, because I tell you, everything you just said, I so resonate and connected. And I knew there was other things we had in common when we first met each other at another event when we were panelists. But, being darker complected myself, I have braces too as an adult. So, similar things. Good kudos to you, because I'm still working on my weight challenges. But same issues. That I have a lazy eye. There's other things too. And I had the same situation. So when you talk about the fact of not being heard, and you're in the conference room and you said the exact same thing someone else said, what can you share a little bit about what helped you shift your mindset such that you were able to see an opportunity to overcome that, such that you were comfortable speaking louder? Can you share a little bit about what really happened to help you get there to do that?
You know what? I think it took a lot of self-reflection. It took me sometimes to look at the members in the room and realize that I was Dr. Bridget Leonard at the table. There weren't that many doctors in the room. I had 25 years of nursing experience. I walked the walk and did the talk. I was the expert. And I had to take time to claim that and accept that and be able to speak on it. So it took a lot in me, but it was like, and it was so funny because once I accepted the role, once I accepted my role as the expert, once I accepted the fact that I was Dr. Leonard, I had all these years of education and experience behind me, it got to the point where after the board meetings, where board members would come up to me and say, that was a great presentation you did, or that was a great remark. But I'm so glad that, because the Bridget 15 years ago, like I said, would have just shut down. But the Bridget today, because I turned 50 last year and I just took on a whole different thing. It's like, you know what? Tomorrow's not guaranteed. I'm living each day to the fullest. I have all of this inside of me. I'm letting it out. And and I'm sorry, and I tell people, don't confuse my confidence with cockiness. But my thing is, if I have the knowledge and I have the experience, I'm going to share it, especially if I'm knowledgeable about the topic and the subject. Why not?
Exactly. And I think for those of us that really suffer with imposter syndrome, it's exactly what you just said. It's the belief in knowing that we do know what we're talking about, that's not fake. That's not by accident. That is because of your 25 years of experience. And so, share a little bit, if you wouldn't mind, because you're a corporate dropout, right?
Yeah, I'm so happy.
Look, yes, I can see your excitement for there. But, when you reflect on, your corporate experience and having that imposter syndrome, do you believe that syndrome is just automatic for those because I'm still in corporate? Is that something that you think is automatically going to happen to us, to women of color in the corporate environment, just by the nature of, for instance, everything you described, the boardroom experience, the people of a lighter color making the same statements as us? Do you think it's inevitable for us to have imposter syndrome? What are your thoughts if you look back?
If I look back and, when I think about my peers and us having these conversations, I think that everyone of a, like you said, black or brown experiences this, but it's how you embrace it, how you accept it as to how far it will take you either off the path that you want to go or really put you on the path that you need to go. So yes, I think that at one point in everyone's career that they will get a taste of that imposter syndrome, because unfortunately, there's going to be someone in that room who's bringing their own biases and their own beliefs to the table.
Yeah.
And that unfortunately their home training, they can't detach from it. And a lot of times they don't even realize what they're saying. And it's like, you really don't understand that was offensive, right?
I know. Isn't that amazing though, Dr. B, for real? I mean, and the people that are listening now, they know I always say who we are personally is who we are professionally. So your home training comment, so true. But it's amazing to me. I mean, how can you not know that was offensive? I mean, you know what I'm saying? I mean, come on. I totally agree.
But a lot of times when you're living, we're in Michigan, when you're raised up in a suburban community with people that look like you, and you're not used to really experiencing life with people that look like me on a day-to-day basis, then you don't know what I experience on a day-to-day. You don't know those things, because there was I remember one time we were having a luncheon for our PCAs, and, automatically was, I was like, well, we have to make sure that we give them lunch. And automatically the person said, well, we can order some fried chicken. What makes you think that we want fried chicken?
Okay. Okay. All right. Wow. Okay.
So, I mean, just, and then you just, taking that time to educate, like, no, we don't want a fried chicken because we already have issues with hypertension and so forth. No, grilled chicken maybe, but not fried.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, Dr. B. Well, what I want to talk about now, and for those of you, thank you for joining us live. Appreciate having you here. I want to dive into this article that I read recently. It's a Harvard Business Review article, and the title is "Stop Telling Women They Have Imposter Syndrome." And in particular, this article is really focused on women of color, right? Quit telling us we have imposter syndrome. So I really would like to get your thoughts on a few of the art pieces of the article. So one area of the article says that we shouldn't tell people they have imposter syndrome because if you have confidence challenges, that doesn't equate to your lack of competence. So stop telling people you have imposter syndrome because your confidence is low, because that does not equal lack of confidence. So we need to just quit telling them that. What are some of your thoughts about that part of the article? But by the way, have you had a chance to look at the article?
Yeah.
Did you see it? Okay.
And you know what? And that really bothers me because when people think about it, the term imposter syndrome has been around for years.
Yes.
And it's easier for me to go to another female and say, look, honey, we have to deal with this imposter syndrome. I got to make you a stronger you. I got to help you break down those barriers so that you can realize your potential. It's easier for me to work with a woman and knock down her barriers than it is for me to go to an organization and try to get through all those layers of management and policies and procedures and change things. If I break down her barriers and give her a voice, and then she can take the same tools that I've given her and mentor someone else to give them those tools, then we can have a collective voice, and we can all help to break down those barriers and those stigmas. But
I love that.
But to just go and say, no, honey, you don't have imposter syndrome. It's all on them. And not having a plan to deal with them is no. I think that we should start within and exude it out.
I love that, because that's exactly, you make a wonderful point, because the article does kind of say that. It says that, forget the women. Don't go and tell them or say anything to them. Fix all the other stuff. You make an excellent point, Dr. Bridget, because how long will that take? And to your point, pulling back all those layers at every corporate organization, every policy, every procedure, every individual, goodness gracious. But if we start with you helping me and, reaching back and across and
Yes.
extending the olive branch and helping each other become stronger in the process, and giving, even helping them do the reflective look and say, yeah, remember, you did kind of question yourself, or you did shrink back a little bit. Let me help you, to your point, not do that. Let me help you speak louder. Let me help you use your voice. Let me help you see the value that you have. I love that perspective. That article kind of bothered me a little bit too.
Yeah, it was like, what do you say? I knew I had imposter syndrome and I got over it now.
Exactly. And there's nothing wrong with it, because I think your point's very valid that you mentioned earlier. It's probably a natural thing that's going to happen. And it comes with the environment, because that corporate landscape can create that in us, right? Where we just take a minute to second guess, or take a minute that makes us take, well, wait a minute, maybe not kind of thoughts, right? But it doesn't necessarily completely strip away our value, not at all. I mean, we're human, right?
Mm-hmm.
Dr. B, we're human.
Right.
And so, yeah, it's natural to have those second thoughts, those second guesses. So, can you share a little bit, as we're continuing to talk about what, if you were to reach out right now? So we've got some women listening to us. You're reaching out, you're speaking to them. Are there like 3 to 5 things that you would say, hey, girl, I need you to think about this, or keep in mind this? Would you have some things you'd like to offer?
Sure. I think first and foremost, know your worth. Know what you bring to the table. No one can take that from you. Second, I'm always about, living your best life. And living your best life may not be having that corner office or a 6-figure income. Having that best life is merely doing the things that make you happy, the things that put a smile on your face. So remember that. I think point number 3 is look in the mirror and have a conversation with that person looking back at you. Constantly tell them how great they are. Applaud yourself on the back. I tell people all the time, it's okay to pat yourself on the back. Everybody not going to always pat you. That's why you got 2 hands. Pat yourself on the back.
Okay, I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, but I love that, Dr. B. You said that's why you got 2 hands.
Yes, pat yourself on the back. Yeah. Point number 4, find your voice. If you feel that someone has said something to you or done something to you that makes you uncomfortable, I always tell people that, when I was in corporate, I would, before I left that day, I would have a conversation with that person that made me uncomfortable, because I'm not taking all that baggage home with me. I already got enough stuff to take home with me. I'm not taking that baggage. I'm gonna give it back to you so that you can deal with it. I'm gonna let you know what's on my mind and you deal with it. I don't want it. I'm not taking it home with me. And then 5th, find you some friends. One of the things I found was that oftentimes it was people that look like me, my sisters, that had the biggest problems with me. And it's like, boo, it's enough room for us all at the top. I really believe the mountain's top is flat. I don't think it's a peak. I think it's flat, and anybody and everybody can stand on it. So stop trying to act like crabs in a barrel and pull each other down. Let's push each other up and support each other. So let's find that sisterhood and, be able to vent to that girl, a friend, and be able to give her some tips and some suggestions. Don't just, okay, I'm the CNO and I have this title, I'm still Bridget. I'm still Dr. B. I'm still the person you knew 15 years ago. Don't just leave me hanging out there by myself. I need your support now more than ever. So.
Oh my gosh, Dr. B, that is so true. I often say, Burger King didn't close down, or McDonald's didn't close down when Burger King came, right? There's Wendy's, there's churches in some places, there's Kentucky Fried Chicken. We all can eat. Yes. I mean, there's enough for all of us to eat. The crabs in the barrel thing, I will it's unfortunately so alive and well. And I absolutely agree with you, which is really part of the mission and vision I have for this broadcast, is to help, another brown or black or brown sister get to that next level, whatever that rung is they're looking for. The other piece I love you gave is do what's your passionate, what makes you happy. A lot of times we are title chasers, right? Yes. We are so we think that we can put on that bombing, if we can make our business card bombing, when we pass it out, that is everything. And somehow that's our value. When business cards people either throw away or they end up, I got a stack of them that, you get them all the time. And so I'm so glad that those were part of your 5 nuggets, because it's so critical for us to shift our mindset around things like that. And that will help, because one person has commented already that she finds that her imposter syndrome grows as she evolves in her career. Yeah, because we tend to say, okay, wait a minute, I got this next level opportunity, or I got a bigger scope. Wait a minute, hold on. Am I really supposed to be here? Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
And sometimes you even pass up opportunities because you don't feel like you're the most qualified, or you don't feel like you're ready.
Yes.
And so I say, take the opportunity. At the very least, you can go to that person and say, you know what, maybe this wasn't for me, but you don't know what's not for you if you don't try it.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Dr. B, this has been, as I knew it would be, I knew it would be just phenomenal to get your wisdom, your nuggets based on your experience in an industry that, I would say is still challenged, like my industry, with seeing more people like you and I that look like you and I, right? And you rose to those high ranks in an industry that's extremely highly technical, STEM oriented, and challenged, and heavy technically. And so kudos to you for leading in that space. And then also what you do in your business to help other people be successful and to have a fabulous life. So thank you for spending time with us this evening. And any of you, if you want to reach out to her, you can reach her through we've got all of the information. We're going to share her website, all of our other information for Bridget Leonard's Enterprises. Any of you need a speaker? Here's your person. You need to reach out to her and have her come share some more wisdom and nuggets. Take care, everyone. This is Being Brown Live. We'll see you next Tuesday.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, Dr. B.